Welcome to Chasing Critters Forever. I made this video about the Retay Gordion Waterfowl edition. It's a synthetic gun, 12 gauge with a 26-inch barrel, and it's inertia driven. So if anybody out there is interested in inertia guns, you may want to stay tuned because I got some interesting things to show you about this gun. The Gordion Waterfowl has two features added to it by Retay from the factory. One of them is the oversized bolt handle, and the other is the paddle release. I like these two particular features. I guess it depends on what you shoot and how you shoot, but I love the paddle release for this reason. If my bolt is locked back and I throw a shell in there and I want to load it, it only takes the pressure of one finger right here to close it. I find that handy because I load and unload my gun a lot. I shoot a lot of skeet, and so that does save me some time. So let's talk about loading and unloading the Gordion. Obviously, the quickest way to get one into the chamber is just to work the action, drop a shell, let it back. If you want to load it from the magazine, let's put a couple of shells in there and see how that works. Now I have 2 shells in the magazine, none in the chamber. To get a shell from the magazine to the chamber, first I have to release one onto the carrier. To do that, we would go right here to this button, and it's called a cartridge release. So if I push it, what I've done is I've released a shell onto the carrier. Now it's ready to go to the chamber. To do that, once again, you just work the action. Now that shell is in the chamber, and I still have one in the magazine. Let's get rid of this one in the chamber for safety's sake. And don't worry, that went on a soft bed. Now I have one left in the magazine. So Retay talks about using the index finger, pushing down the carrier, and when you reach inside here to the left, what you'll find there is a carrier latch. Now that latch is what holds shells in the magazine until they're called for. So if you push that carrier latch in, that shell will come right out of the magazine. I particularly like to use more fingers than that. I use my middle finger and kind of cradle it, and instead of pushing inside, I'll push where this paddle attachment is screwed into the receiver right here. Works the same way. Let's do it again real quick. That's how quick it is to unload it. There is another quick way to put a shell from the magazine to the chamber, and I'll show you what that looks like. Now I have none in the chamber, I have one in the magazine, and I'd like to load that chamber. So what you can do is you can pull back on the bolt. You can put your finger on the cartridge release button, and you want to push the cartridge release button just a millisecond before letting go of the bolt. And you'll put that shell from the magazine into the chamber. Just take a look. That shell just went from the magazine to the chamber. Kind of looks cool. You may want to try that sometime. So now I want to talk to you about the barrel on this Gordion, and what I want to look at is 3 things. One is the chamber, one is the barrel itself and the inside diameter, and the other is where the choke tubes fit in this barrel. The Gordion is chambered for 3-inch rounds, which means it can shoot 2 3/4 inch or 3-inch rounds, and that is right here, the chamber. Now, according to Retay, what they've done is they've taken what's called the forcing cone somewhere in this area, and they have elongated it. And if you look at a barrel on a standard factory gun that's clean, and you hold it up to the light, in the end of the chamber, you'll see what looks like a very black, maybe a 1/4 inch long band. In this Gordion, when you look at it, it looks like more of an 1 3/4 inch size band. So they have elongated the forcing cone. Now when you combine that to their particular inside diameter of that barrel, and you get down here to the choke tubes, which are relatively long choke tubes, all 3 of those components are supposed to throw a very good pattern. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. This is the Retay MaraPro choke tube. It appears to be relatively long compared to some of the other manufacturers, and I'll show you that compared to my Beretta choke tubes. And you can see the difference in the length. That apparently has something to do with how well it patterns. To give you an example of the MaraPro full choke tube at 40 yards, this is a 12-inch circle using a 1 1/8 ounce number 8 shot. So let's talk about patterning one more time. I found out something very interesting about this Retay Gordion. I don't know if it's the elongated forcing cone, the particular ID inside diameter of the barrel, or just the choke tubes, or a combination of all three. I don't know. I'm an engineer and I'm not going to do the math, but I'll tell you what I do know is that I shot a 12-inch circle at 40 yards with the MaraPro full choke tube, and I put an enormous amount of pellets in that target. I look back on my data shooting the 300 Outlander with its OEM full choke tube, and it put less BBs in a 12-inch circle at 40 yards. You want to know how many more? 25% more pellets at 40 yards in a 12-inch circle with the MaraPro full choke tube. Guys, I don't know about you, but that tells me a whole lot about what Retay did with this Gordion barrel. I like it. It puts a bigger payload down range, and that means ethical kills, good breaks on clays. Now let's talk about one of the best hacks I've come out with in a long time, and that was changing out the recoil pad on this Gordion. I found out real quick that shooting the Magnum loads gives a pretty good kick. So let me show you what I did. After researching the Limb Saver site, I found that they didn't produce one yet for the Retay Gordion. So I got curious and started measuring it, and I found out that it's the exact same size as the standard 5-inch Beretta butt pad. So I took the Limb Saver AirTech butt pad off of my 300 Outlander and found out that the screw holes were at a different place on the template. So what I did was I had drilled 2 new holes to fit the Retay screw holes, and also shaved off the 2 abutments that's underneath the pad to fit into the 300 stock. And I put that butt pad on this Retay, and it fit like a sock. Take a look at the fitment. Well guys, there you have it. I've given you an overview on the Retay Gordion Waterfowl edition, and I've told you a lot of things that seem good about it, and I like the gun. There's only one negative, and it was already mentioned on another review, so I wasn't going to mention it, but I will now. The gun is a 6-pound 10-ounce gun, and the trigger pull is just about equal to the weight of the gun. That bothers a lot of folks, and I thought it may be a problem. But after shooting the gun 2,200 times since May the 1st, I forgot about it. I don't have any issue with it. And besides that, I checked on getting a trigger job done on it, and it would have been 3 to 4 months wait because of this post-pandemic epic we're in. So overall, I think it's a great gun. It's a $750 inertia gun, and I haven't had a bit of problem with it. I haven't seen any malfunctions on it. It handles well, it's lightweight, and it will spit out anything I put in it. I've shot as small as 7/8 ounce loads all the way up to 1 7/8 ounce loads. Never experienced a problem. Kicks them out 6-7 feet from me every time. So if you're interested in a inertia gun and don't want to pay $2,000, $1,500 for one, this is a $750 gun that I truly believe is going to become a mainstay for inertia guns. It's only been out 2 or 3 years now, but I like it. It works well for me. And so if this helped you any at all, I'm really glad. Give me a thumbs up on YouTube and shoot well, be safe, and I'm going to be out of here chasing critters forever.